What's up, guys? It's Tino, and I'm back with another TV talk. So let's go ahead and get into it. Alright, guys. First, I want to say ignore the hair. I need to give myself a haircut. And, we're working on month 2 with these braids. Today, I'm going to be talking about a movie, and it is one that just recently came out, and me and my partner went to go see it opening day. When we were in the movie theater watching Weapons, I don't know if anyone's seen that. That was an odd one. We were in the movie theater watching Weapons. We saw the trailer come across. It was a must-see. So today I'm going to be talking about The Long Walk. Yes, The Long Walk by Stephen King. And it's kind of crazy too, because recently, I've been picking up the book The Shining. I'm working on reading that, and Stephen King has just been a topic of conversation as I'm in a journey to make new connections and make new friends in my neighborhood. And apparently people are Stephen King's a trash writer. That's not what I said, that's just what the people are saying. Personally, I have only read, I think, maybe 1 or 2 other Stephen King books when I was younger. I've been off of the reading game for a little bit, trying to get back into it. And I personally never disliked Stephen King. The last book I read by him was called The Colorado Kid. I'm pretty sure that's what's called, The Colorado Kid. He wrote quite a bit of books while here in Colorado, about while he was taking his journey and his experience. It inspired him to create books, the most popular one being The Shining. And so that's the one I'm reading right now, but the one I did write was Colorado Kid. It was a murder mystery with no ends. I feel so Stephen King gives me thriller, psychological, just makes you want to think about things, the little details that are in his stories are could that have been the circumstance that led to this, and this? And I appreciate that. And maybe I'll read more Stephen King books and I'll be oh, well, this one wasn't good and that one wasn't good. But I don't think everything doesn't have to be a hit. Push that to the side. So we went to go see The Long Walk, which is inspired by a Stephen King novel. And I like The Shining, the old one, the first Shining. And I was when it comes to Stephen King, I'm going to trust that they can produce a good movie off of this. And boy, I did not expect what I was getting myself into. So let me set the stage for you guys. And as always, it's been a few days since I've seen this, so it's going to be a very chaotic retelling of this movie just for you. So setting the scene, right? We're looking at America in a very desolate time. It's giving the 20s, the Great Depression, modern day, okay? So they scroll over, you see a bunch of just land with no people. Everyone lives in rundown houses. You could tell the people have been struggling for a minute. We zoom in on the main character, Ryan Garrity, and he's talking with his mom about the Long Walk, and they're driving to go to the Long Walk, to go to the startup point, basically, of the Long Walk. So all of the guys, they meet at one starting point, and she's just you can change your mind. He's telling her, well, the data cutout was yesterday. I can't back out now. I can't back out now. They get there and she drops him off. Okay, so basically this competition is between 50 boys one from each state, and in this competition they have the opportunity to basically advance their wealth, right? So you get a bunch of riches and you get one wish, anything you want, literally anything. They talked about how one kid, he wished for an elephant. They pulled one out and he just rolled the elephant home, right? So anything you want. And it is spearheaded by this guy called the Major, just a figurehead. Okay, we can all see the symbolism in that. Just a figurehead. He's running this, and this is basically the Long Walk. So he's spearheading this, and the Long Walk is basically a demonstration of hard work. It's kind of how it's explained. So Ryan Garrity, he gets there. He immediately gets and gets in with the boys, and like he sits down, he starts talking to this one guy. His name is Pete. Yeah, his name. I gotta make sure. His name is Pete. I don't remember everyone's name. I'm not gonna lie. Like I remember Pete. I remember Arthur. And then there was like the Asian kid. So like Ryan, Pete, Arthur. I forget what the Asian's kid's name is. They're like, they immediately click, right? Like the Asian kid, he's shooting the shit. He's like making jokes, cracking, you know, funny man type vibe. Arthur, he's more of the reserve. He's more of the reserve type, and he's straight up. He's like, I'm here for the money. I want to make a better future for me and my family. He loves his family. He loves God, and yeah, he's like the all around, just a like upbeat kind, right? Then you have Pete. Pete is also upbeat, but he's more like motivational beat. Like I would compare him to Preacher Boy and I would compare him to Preacher Boy and Sinners. Like he's kind of got like, it's like something stoic about him, but when it comes down to it, he's like, no, come on, let's do this. You know, like we got this. Like let's keep motivating each other. Let's keep pushing on, keeping on, right? And Ryan, he's just like this white boy. Like he is the only white boy of this group. Like, you know, it's not that it matters, but it kind of does, but it doesn't, right? Not at this moment. And he's just like, he's known, everyone keeps calling him hometown. So the walk is held, I want to say Mississippi. I meant to look before I started this. Me and my girlfriend were like, not debating, but like we were talking about if it was Mississippi, because they said Shreveport. So let me know if that's from Mississippi. Let me know, okay? Shreveport. So they walk across this entire state, and this is his state. Like this, they keep calling him hometown. This is his state. And so like they're just chopping it up all about that. So right now they're sitting. The major pulls up. He's all like, since 19 years ago when America was bombed. Like literally that's how he sounds. Like he sounds like a robot, you know? And he's got like these dark shades on, so you never see his eyes. He's got these dark shades on. He's like this little compacted man, like Napoleon type man. And he's like just explaining the long walk. He's like, I'm not gonna read you the rules. You should have read it before you got here. He basically just tells them they have to keep at a speed of 3 miles an hour. They have to keep at a speed of 3 miles an hour. They get 3 warnings. Every warning costs them an hour. So basically, if they drop below speed, they get a first warning. All right, then they get 10 seconds to pick speed back up. They get a second warning. Then get 10 seconds again. They get a third warning, and then they get their ticket after those 10 seconds. So they get 30 seconds to get their speed together in total. But every time you take a warning, you can't get another warning for an hour. So like each warning costs you an hour of having to walk further. So if you get one warning, right, you have to walk for an hour to regain all 3 of your warnings back. That makes sense? You following me? All right. And then the second major rule is don't go off of the path. Like if you go off the path, you immediately get your ticket. Okay, boom. And they go to explain that pretty much America was bombed, like in World War III or something. America was bombed, and they want to reinstill hard work in America, because now I'm assuming, because I think this would happen in real life too, if like America were to be perceived as the threat of the world, people would cease to cut ties and pull resources and trade from our country. Like that's kind of just how it goes until like you can show that you are in good faith again. So like people pull resources, so they're starting back from the beginning, like of manufacturing, you know, back in like slavery times and up until like 1960. Like America was very strong on like factory work, manufacturing, like textiles. Like we did all of that home base, right? But then we outsourced now, all of those things a lot of the time to China. That's why, like, if you ever hear a small business owner talk about, oh yeah, I have to pay, when people say, oh, this stuff is made in America, but they're telling you they have to pay like $20,000 for the manufacturing machine, all those parts come from somewhere else, because we pretty much rid ourselves of like a lot of manufacturing, and now we focus on technology based, which whatever. So they're starting back from scratch, and they have to go start manufacturing, and the long walk is their solution to instilling fear in the American people. They don't say it's fear, they say it's inspiration, but it is fear. It instills fear in the American people to continue to work hard so that they can get the country back on track. That's the major. And he has like, there's 3 giant tanks surrounding them at all times, and with armed guards, and they start the walk. And they hit them feet. And not much is happening. Like, I will say, like, overall, the movie is kind of slow, right? But it's slow, but it's fast. Like, the things that are happening are like, they're tiny, but they mean so much. And it's mostly just them talking, right? They're getting to know each other, and they're talking a lot about like what the long walk means, right? So they start running. There's this one kid, his name's Markovich. That's not his first name, but I can't remember his first name, but his name's Markovich. Like, they all like get numbers that represent their states. I have a theory that the numbers represent like where their states land for like generated wealth, you know? And Ryan's is 47. So that's why I do think it's like a southern state somewhere for sure. And I think like it's rated like this is where you land, like generating like capital for the capita for the country. Boom. So they get like all these little dog tags, and they're starting to walk. So like all of them kind of been introduced. So some of the side characters would be Markovich, right? He's like this outside, like he first comes off as maybe a hippie type, but then you kind of realize like we all meet those guys that are like, oh, I'm poly, I'm free love, got a bunch of like gauges, tongue cuts, you know, like they're like trying to be queer in a sense of like just to market it as like I want to have threesomes, you know. No, not shaming anyone, but like I mean that's kind of what it is, right? Like they're like, oh, like I maybe will let a guy touch me, but I'm not touching them, just to like make themselves more favorable in the light of like feminine energy. But low-key, all of these dudes are like bungholes. I don't want to cuss too much because I don't want my channel to get flagged. But like low-key, most of those guys are kind of bungholes. Like when you get to know them, like their philosophies about life are just messed up. Like, you know, they're like very anti, but they're anti on like what would be considered the left side of anti, but that's like a short hop over into the right side of anti. So like that's kind of like his vibe, right? And he's like blonde, and most of the guys we know are probably like brown hair, but yeah. And then we have what is his name? It's like a native guy from South Dakota, from the South tribe. Let me know if I'm pronouncing that wrong. I know it's spelled SIOUX, South tribe. He's there, and he's kind of like, he's also very stoic, but like in a way like he doesn't speak unless he feels like someone's just doing too much, and then he's like, you're doing too much and I'll beat you up, so don't make me beat you up. That's literally his vibe, right? Hank, I think Hank is the Asian kid. Hank, he's like this little guy, makes jokes. He reminds me of the little Asian kid off the Goonies. That's definitely like the same vibes. Was that him? I'm gonna have to look into that. But yeah, that's same vibe as that. Like, and then we have one guy, which I feel like this is kind of like Stephen King writing himself in. One guy is like, I'm gonna make a book about the long walk, so he's documenting everything. He's taking everyone's names, their numbers, and he's just like writing them down. He's documenting his experience in the long walk, right? This is like when they're all fresh, they're all chopping it up, and the four, Arthur, Hank, Ryan, and Pete, they immediately are like bonded in. They're like, we're gonna make sure we get as far as we can, each and every one of us, you know, and like we're just gonna keep pushing, like we're gonna keep motivating each other. So they immediately build a bond, right? So they're walking, and I want to say they are about 50 miles in. There was this one kid, his name was Curly, and everyone kept asking him how old he was because he looked young. Like, he looked like he was 14. He kept telling people he was 18, but everyone just knew, like, he was a baby, right? So they're walking, and all of a sudden, Curly, his leg starts locking up. So he starts slowing down, and they hand him the first warning. And so Ryan immediately goes into action. He grabs him, and he's like, come on, just look at me. We're going to keep up the speed. And so he's like basically pulling him along to keep up the speed of his watch. And he's like, it's okay. Like, you know, just work the cramp out. You don't feel it. It's okay. It's okay. He's like really motivated, like trying to push him through the cramp. And like, he's like, okay. And like, after a couple of minutes, he's like, are you good? He's like, yeah, I'm good. And so he's like keeping it for a second, but then it comes back. And it's like bad. It like brings him to his knees. And so they're in the back. They're like, first warning, Curly, first warning. Second warning, Curly, second warning. And everyone's like, oh my gosh, no, he's going to get his ticket. He's going to get his ticket. And at this point, you don't really know what ticket means. Like, you have an idea because, like, look at the vibes. Look at what the surrounding area is, right? He's going to get his ticket. He's going to get his ticket. And there's like 2 little kids like on bicycles, and Arthur's telling them, you need to get out of here. You need to get out of here. Like, you need to go. Y'all don't need to see this, whatever. Third warning. And at the third warning, the guard has the columbine pointed at his head, just sitting there. 10 seconds, boom. That's all you hear. Single shot. Everyone watched this kid get his head blown off, basically. Like, I mean, like the way, like, I know this is how, I haven't heard too many like automatic weapons in my lifetime, right? I've heard a lot of pistols and like rifles being shot, and the way, if this is how like these automatic weapons sound, like the way that it sounded, it like shook the whole room. Like, you're watching the movie, but you feel like you're there, and it's a single shot, and it like shakes you so bad because it's like ricochets. Like the way they made it sound, like it sounds like it was ricocheting off of the walls. And everyone's just sick. All the boys, they turn around, they're like, and it's like starting to click in. Like, you can see like how on each of their faces it's clicking in that like, if I don't win, that's me. If I don't win, because only one person can win. If I don't win, that's me. A bullet through the head. Like, and you see everyone just kind of like, some people got a little sick and also gained some warnings, but most of them is just like, it's really sinking in that you know, like the ticket is the ticket out of here, out of this life, right? And so they're pushing on, keep on going. Like, they're walking. They hit 100 miles. There's like a wall painted on the city because they always do the walk through the city, and there's a wall painted that says, congratulations, long walkers, like, you've reached 100 miles. Like, obviously all of them are just like, whatever, okay? Like, and they're like talking about how the locals, like, so apparently the major, I don't know why quotation, he is the major, but doesn't let any spectators, like any real spectators, come until like the end parts of the walk. But like between that, like when you're walking through like the air, like the state, like people can see from their houses and stuff. And they talk about them, they call them pigs. They're like, look at them, like they're just watching, like they want to see someone get their ticket. They want to see like someone die ultimately, because you know that's what this all about. It has become, that's why I said it's kind of like the Hunger Games, because it has become this thing where like some people are so far removed from like, this has happened for 19 years, that when they're watching these boys walk, like it's entertainment for them. This is the thing that happens every year, and like this is entertainment. Like it's put on live TV. The tanks have cameras in them that are basically watching them the whole time and stuff. And there's this one kid, I also can't remember his name, but he's like the whole, like for the majority of the movie, he's like, you shouldn't talk bad about the long walk, because Pete and Ryan, they sometimes get into the philosophy of it all, right? And he's like, you shouldn't talk bad about the long walk, like, you know, that's against the law, that's basically high treason, you could die. And I'm like, why are you riding the major's dick so hard, you know? And it's like, he's just like, every time they say something, he's just like he sounds like a grumpy little kid. So we get to a scene, it's nighttime, right? It's the first night. Was it the first night? No, yeah, it was their first night. So it starts off like you see, like, so this scene starts off with a flashback from Ryan's past, and like his mom is singing to him. And I'm not gonna lie, I will say, like, they kind of emphasize his like flashbacks a little bit, because I mean, at this point he's still like a teenager, and his mom is singing him a song. He's in like full body pajamas. It's crazy. But he gets shooken out of it. He's like, hey, like, you're falling behind, because he gets his first warning for the night. So they're like falling asleep while walking. It's crazy, like the body can do that. Like, he's still moving, but his mind is asleep. And so they're basically like leaning on each other to like keep him through. It starts raining, and they hit their first hill. And like, I guess I never really thought about it. Like, even if you are going the same pace, you lose momentum on a hill. It's like with the car. Like, you could be going the same pace with the car. Like, you could be going 45 with the car, and if you hit an incline, the car automatically slows down, no matter if you like are still applying the same pressure on the gas or not. Like, you have to put more effort in, right? And I guess this is the place where they tend to lose most people. So they've lost a couple along the way, but this is the place where they tend to lose most people. And basically, so they like hit the hill, everyone has to start running, but a lot of people are slipping. It's wet, they're slipping, they're falling, and you just hear boom, 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 all through it. Then they get to the top of the hill, and it's just like quiet, and everyone's just like trying to walk. The morning comes back around, and they're like, how many did we lose? And the military kid, he's all like, yeah, we're down to like 14 now. Like, they lost more within the first day. They lost more than a half of them. There's 50 kids here. Like, they lost more than a half of people. There's either 50 or 49. I want to say for some reason there's no Hawaii representation. Maybe at this point Hawaii was like, we're an island. We're not doing that. Like, but I don't know. So like, they lost, like, they're down to 14 people, right? And the Markovich kid, he's all like riled up. Like, he's like just going at it. He's like picking on this one kid named Rands. He had like a real strange name, and he's just like going on. He's like, I can't believe your mom named you that. Like, your mom must hate you. Like, why would she name you that? Like, look at you, you're gonna fail. You're like, and so the kid, like, he's getting riled up, so he takes a swing at him. He misses, but he does take a swing at him. And so like, obviously both of them are getting warnings because of like, they're stopping, like when you like turn your body, like you're not walking forward, so your like mileage goes down. So both of them are getting warnings, and he's just like going at him. I think his name was Rank. And he's like just going, he's like still going, and then the kid like swings and he falls, but like he's on his third warning because they were getting warnings while just like doing that. And he's like really hurt though. Like, he falls and he like scrapes himself up, and so everyone's like, come on, you gotta get up, come on, you gotta get up. And he just doesn't get up, and they go boom, another one. After that, everyone's like silent, and then Markovich was like, I really didn't mean for, and everyone's like, you're a murderer, don't talk to us, you're a killer. He's like, don't say that, guys, I swear I didn't mean it, They're like, don't talk to us no more, Because why would you do that? Like, why would you rile him up? Now look, now he's gone and you're still here. And so everyone pretty much solidifies a extreme dislike towards Markovich. And they're like, you know what? We're not talking to you. You're not one of us, obviously. Like, you're doing too much. Whole time, his whole thing was like he was just trying so hard to have friends. But like, yeah, he was psychotic. Like, he was like, oh, this is how I make friends. Like, you're making friends like a 5-year-old. Like, this is the most stressful situation of some of these people's lives. And you're over here like hounding on people and you don't know when to, you mean to tell me you don't know when to let up? You don't know when you're pushing a mark? Come on now. All right. So boom, they're like walking and they're all like now they're like super angry, right? And so Pete and Ryan get talking and Pete's like, you know, why do they call you hometown, or like, tell me about your life or whatever, right? And so Ryan starts talking about his home life, or like they start talking about why do they want to win the long walk? Like, why do they do the long walk, right? And so first Arthur goes, he's like, I ain't gonna lie, I want the money. Like, the money is life changing. Like, I could do so much with that money. And they're all jiving on him because like he's like a Christian boy, and they're like, oh, Jesus wasn't about the money. And he's like, well, Jesus ain't gotta live the life I'm living, you know? He's like, at the end of the day, like, it's just what it is. And Pete's all like, well, I'm gonna start helping people from top to bottom, you know? Like, he's like, I got a list I'm going through. I'm gonna start making sure everyone gets back on their feet, like in the communities around him, I guess. And Hank's all like, well, he's like, I don't care about the money, I want the wish. They were like, oh yeah, what you gonna wish for? And he was like, I'm gonna wish for 10 naked ladies. Sir, what are you talking about? And they're all like, well, you got a bunch of money, why wouldn't you just pay for 10 naked ladies? And he's like, why would I pay for 10 naked ladies? Like that's prostitution. I'm not doing that. And they're like, well, if you make a wish for 10 naked ladies, don't you think someone has to pay for them down the road? And he's like, oh, okay. So boom, that's like their little thing. And Ryan hasn't said anything. And so they're like, come on now, Ryan, like, why do you want to be here, right? Like, why do you want to win the long walk? And so he's like, come on, like, gotta get in, like, can't hear it out loud. And he starts talking about like, this thing is voluntary, right? But you don't know not a single boy our age that has not volunteered to be part of the long walk. And why is that? Because it's truly not voluntary, because everyone's has such an economic hardship right now that who wouldn't want to volunteer to elevate their position in life? He's like, it's just not right. And then he goes on to talk about how his father was like, I think his father was a factory worker, but it kind of seems like he might have been a teacher too. And at this point they had banned books. Sound familiar? They had banned books, and his father would like read banned books to like the students and like just like talk about topics that were like taboo to talk about at this point in time because you could die, right? And ultimately his father did lose his life for his cause. And then he eventually tells Pete, he's like, I want to kill the major. And Pete's like, what? He's like, you would leave your mom behind like that? He was like, your father made his choice, and his choice was to leave you and your mom behind, knowing what kind of life y'all would have to live. And it's like, now here you are making the same choice, basically. And like, I feel like it hadn't never really dawned on him that like, oh, like this might be selfish, right? But he's like, well, I want to do it. He's like, I think it could enact great change. And military boys on back like, you should not say things like that. Like, he's like, you know when like a little girls are like, oh my gosh, guess what? Like, it's kind of like that vibe. Like, he's all whispering. He's like, oh my gosh, guys, you shouldn't say that. Like, something will get you hurt. But he's not telling on them either. So like, obviously, like his ideology is starting to change as he walks along too. And I do want to talk about something for a minute, right? Like, there are people of color in this grand scheme, right? But I will say, you can tell, like, it still shows the proportion of race in America, right? Like, you have you had probably like 30 white boys. I'd even go to say like 40, and then the rest, the 10% was like Asian. There was one Asian kid, there was one Native kid, there was like 5 black kids, there was probably a Hispanic person in there somewhere, you know, like, so like it does, like, in a way there is like, it's not, the movie is not necessarily about race, but you can't help but get attached to people because of like what they look like, and you can't help but see how like their race has shaped their experience even in this harder world, right? Like, let's talk a little bit about characters. So even with Ryan, before his father martyred himself, right, he grew up in a 2-parent household. He pretty much had most of everything he wanted provided to him, within the reason of like what everyone had, right? He still lived in a big house. He had his own room. You know, his mom was cooking meals every night. Okay, like, and this is in a time and place where it's like, think Great Depression. No one really has anything, but like he still has so much. And even at the end of the day too, his father knew what kind of society they were living in, but he still felt like it was okay to put his foot down for his values, which I think everyone should do. But like, he still, in a sense, he still knew that it was okay to do that because they would be all right regardless. Like, and that is a privilege that I think we don't look at a lot. Okay. Because then we look at Arthur, right? Like, he talks a lot about his grandma. So that lets me know that like he may not even have present parents at all. So he talks a lot about his grandma and his grandpa and how he wants to do better by them. So he's already being raised from a generation a couple of behind his. And I'm sure like with them being older, he has less access to resources because they can't work as hard, right? And he probably has to do most of the work and keep his household in order. Come to find out, little Hanky Poo, who wants 10 naked ladies, is married. He's basically a child. I'm pretty sure this is about boys 16 to 21, right? And so he's basically still a child. He's already married. He has someone depending on him already, like, as a man of color. Okay, whereas like you got people still like this kid is still being raised by like his mother. Don't know about Markovich. The military kid, come to find out, the major's his dad. So, and the whole reason he joined the Long Walk was so that he could get for his wish, he wanted to have tea with his father. What? Okay, and I mean, I'm not gonna say you were completely privileged because obviously he grew up in a single parent household and apparently the major got kids everywhere. But I am gonna say he's probably well taken care of. I'm sure the major's slipping money his mom's way. He looked very healthy, very strong, right? Was slipping money mom's way probably, and like you here are just like, I just want to see my dad. Tea? Who's thinking about having tea with anyone when y'all are having financial hardships? It's crazy. And as for Pete, he was an orphan. His parents died when he was very young, and he bounced around a little bit from place to place. He was treated very poorly in all the places he was in, and he ended up eventually like running away, doing his own thing. And of course, he joined the Long Walk, but he's like the one that has such a like mindset of like giving back to the community, even though he had the less theoretically. But he didn't, because his heart is full, because people helped him along the way. And so it's just like, you know, looking at even in a system where like everyone is struggling, the levels of struggle are still super disproportionate between white people and people of color. So that's all I'm gonna say about that when it comes to race, right? But because in light of that, they still managed to build these bonds. I think like the reason this movie was so powerful, I'm not gonna lie, like I was tearing up in there. So was my partner. I'm sure a lot of people were tearing up in there, right? when you watch it, it's like you don't know what's happening until it has happened, right? Until your favorite character takes a bullet in the head, or even your least favorite character takes a bullet in the head, because they've been talking. It's like the true light of human connection. Like, even in the greatest trials, we really do have the opportunity to like lean on each other and like be that support system that some of us never really had, right? And I know I should talk a lot about community, okay? And but the thing is, I don't think community is a bad thing. I just think people go about it wrong, right? Like, the standpoint of community these days is just like, okay, what skill can you bring to the table? And it's still very much based on, oh, you look like this, you like these kinds of people, this is your sexuality. And it's like that kind of division I can't get behind, because for me, true community is a flourishment of like people from all backgrounds coming together and loving one another, right? And I just think like people feel the need nowadays, which I understand, like the world is unsafe, right? And like there are a lot of people here that have these hateful ideologies that are just sparking up left and right, you know? And so you feel the need to lean on people that you feel like you can trust because they are living this experience in society. But I just don't think that's right. And I don't think that's healthy, because it does ostracize like someone who could be truly in need, right? Because that's going to be the first thing in your mind. Like, when you're looking to help people, your first thing on your mind is going to be like, oh, well, I need to look for a person that's like this because this is what my values align to. And that's, I think, it's a very dark hole to get to. But like, you don't realize it as the movie's going along, but even with all of their differences, they're talking, they're leaning on one another. There's multiple scenes where one falls behind and the other one is just pushing them forward, pushing them forward. And they're telling them like, come on, like, you cannot give up. Like, we're doing this. You have to do this. You have to do this. And there's especially this one scene where they're telling Ryan, they're like, oh, we're getting to your neighborhood. We're getting to your town. Like, your mom's going to be there. You think your mom's going to show up? He's like, probably, you know. And the native kid's like, oh, like, you must feel so lucky because you have like a mom, like, and you're gonna get to see her. Like, some of us are really missing our families. Like, some of us are really missing our families, like, really hard. And at this point, Hank had died. I guess I should mention that real quick. Like, at this point, Hank had died. Devastating. He tried though. He went with the fight. He tried to grab the gun. They got him though. You know, because he went, but it's so sick too, because like he's like fighting them and they didn't shoot him until his timer went out. It's like, oh, you know, and the native kid was like, well, at least he tried to put up a fight. And he actually had an allergy too, so I think he was like feeling real weak, because like he had been struggling for a minute there, and like he was feeling real weak because he could only eat certain foods that they had on this journey and stuff. So they're like getting to his town, and the Indian dude, he's like, yeah, you get to see your mom. You should feel happy. Like, this is like, you know, not all of us get to see our parents. Like, a lot of us are never going to see our parents again. And like, whatever. And Pete's telling him, he's like, don't say that, because it's going to actually be harder on him having to see his mom. You know, like, you don't know what kind of effect that's going to have on him or on her. Like, it's going to be super hard. And like, Pete and Ryan's like, you really think so? Like, you think it's going to be hard to see her? And he's like, he was just doing it to get the native kid off of his bag, but like it was devastating. They're walking up and they're like, oh yeah, isn't that your mom right there? And like, at first his mom just gives like a little wave, and then and he's just like nods and he keeps walking, and then like in a second he's running. He's like, I'm so sorry, Mom. I'm so sorry. I don't know why I did this. Like, how could I be so selfish? Why would I do this to you? I didn't mean to do this to you. And the people are in the background. Like, I mean, he's about to get his head blown out in front of his own mother. And like, he's crying. And Pete's like, you gotta come on. Like, we can't do this. And he's just dragging him. And they're like all silent for a while. Like, it was like, oh, it was heart-wrenching, you know, because like, it's like all of that is falling on him. It's like, oh my gosh, like, I think I made a mistake. I think I made a mistake, right? And so it's like 5 of them left at this point. It's Mark, no, yeah, no, it's like 7 of them left, right? It's Markovich, it's the indigenous kid, it's Ryan, Pete, military kid, and Arthur, right? And they're all slugging. They're slugging it down. They're slugging it down, right? And they're just like talking quietly now, like kind of like just kind of get their heads around like the fact that he just saw his mom. He had this whole emotional breakdown, right? And all of a sudden, like, and at some point, like a lot of Arthur said, he's like, when it's my time, like when I feel like stopping, I'm gonna just stop, you know, like. And Arthur kind of turns over and he looks at him and he's like, you know, guys, like, I think this is it. And they're like, what? No, like, come on, keep running. Like, cause he stopped. He's like telling him, he's like, I think this is it. And he's like, they're like, no, they're pulling him. They're trying to like physically move. Mind you, this man is like, he like 6'5", like he's tall. He's probably like got a little bit of weight on him. And just pulling him. And he's like, no, guys, no. And then he takes his necklace off. He's like, please make sure this gets to my grandma. And I do note that he handed it to Ryan. So he felt like Ryan was most likely to win. He told Ryan, please make sure this gets to my grandma, like his little rosary. And like, he was like, just do me a favor, guys, and don't look when they do it. And like, they could see like the defeat basically in his face. And they were like, okay. And so like, they start walking. He gets down on his knees and boom, that's all you hear. I mean, like, I'm telling you, like, what? I'm getting a little choked up just thinking about it. Like, it's just super intense, right? Like, and like you at this point, it's been an hour. You love these guys. You don't know these guys, but you love these guys, right? It's been an hour. And so they're walking a little further, and I think they're about at like 400 miles right now, right? And I want to say, and at this point too, like Markovich has started losing his nerve. He done made them promise that they were all gonna be like friends together, and you know, like be buddies, and that he's part of the team. He's like apologizing. He's like, I didn't mean to kill that kid. The one from earlier in the movie. And like this whole time, like he's just been like, he's losing his nerve. And so eventually he snaps. He's like, I'm sorry. He's like, look, guys, I promise you, I did not mean to do that. So he runs ahead. And this is how, like, and this is just such, like, this is the difference, right? Between, like, someone that cares about you and someone that, like, has been trying hard to live their life in the spotlight, and it just is not going right, you know? So, like, Arthur, you know, he bowed out. He walked to the back. And Markovich, he's like, guys, you are going to remember me. Like, literally, he's telling them this. He's like, you're going to remember this, and this is going to be this is what you see. Like, I promise, I don't mean any harm. He runs to the front. He stops walking. They're like, what are you doing, man? What are you doing? They're like walking. They're like, what are you doing? Boom. In front of them. Like, he makes them witness his death because of whatever reason, because of maybe his need for them to feel his remorse and be like, look, I sacrificed myself because, like, I know I did something that I wasn't supposed to do. It's just like, what? And they're just like, what? Like, they're still walking. So they're down to like 4 people, and they get to like 450 miles, and native kid, he loses his nerves. He's like, you know what? Fuck this. He goes and he runs up. And this is that warrior, this warrior spirit, right? Like, I feel like this part also just hit very hard because you could just, like, you could feel him conquering his ancestors and just like everything about him just locked up. And then he just ran up to the tank, grabbed a gun. He actually got one of them. I wish he would have got more. But he actually got one of them. They beat him. And then they still wait 30 seconds. It's just amazing. Like, they take that warning thing very serious. They're still giving him his warnings, even though he just killed one of them. Like, do you know how heartless, how brainwashed you have to be to watch your comrade, your compadre, your partner in crime die? Like, they must not be talking this whole time. And then just watch him die, and then you're just like, okay, but we're still gonna give you your time because this is what you're owed. Like, they still gave him the chance to keep walking. He obviously is done. And he starts to chant right before, and like he gives his like his way as out to like just whatever, like, and it was just like a very like powerful scene. And now you're down to 3. They're walking. They done hit the 500-mile mark. It's nighttime now, and it's raining again. Mind you, military kid, this whole time, he's been getting sick. And he was even telling them, too, he was like, I've been healthy my whole life. And could you imagine the one time I needed to be healthy and strong, my body is, like, giving up on me? Like, he's, like, got, like, pneumonia or something, like, from the first rain. Like, he's just, like, crumpling apart. He's been coughing. He's, like, looks pale. He looks drained. And this is when he tells them, like, the major's my dad, and like I came here for this reason, like, but he's like, I just don't think it's worth it anymore. I just don't think it's worth it, right? And he's just like I mean, like, he looks so frail, and like he's got the blanket up and everything. He's like shivering, and like literally like, and it's funny too. Like, it's not funny. That's not funny, but like I do think the irony of it all is like crucial, because it is like, could you imagine being healthy and having this philosophy that this ritual that you're like hoping to take part in just so you can meet your long lost father is necessary and true? Like, you've done indoctrinated yourself to believe that this is necessary and true, and now you're part of it, and like everything it's crumpling down. And then like you're like come to a realization, like, if my dad wanted to be there, he would, because look how many he has kids everywhere. I don't know how the major getting around like that, and I feel like there's some foul play with the reason why he has kids everywhere, but he has kids everywhere. And if he wanted to see me, he could have, right? So he's just like, he takes, at this point they're like pretty much going out voluntarily, and he just he stops walking. They give him his little seconds. So now it's just Peter and Ryan, and they're just pushing. And at this point, they already took a vow to stop helping each other. Like, they were like, it's down to the last few of us. We got to stop, like, pulling each other to keep going. But, like, the bond between these two, like, they've been talking, they've been sharing. They know each other's life stories. They're like connected, like they feel that brotherhood, that kindred spirit, even though they both came here for 2 completely different reasons, and also like are motivated by someone's motivated by maybe questionable theory, but still kind of has their heart in the right place. It's just like them. They're just walking. They're silent. They're getting to the city now, and so there's like a lot of people watching. Getting to the city, getting to the finish line. And everyone's just like, who's going to be the last one? Who's going to be the last one? I guess people really come around so they can see the last kill or whatever. And so, like, there's a bunch of people. It's raining. It's dark. They're talking. And all of a sudden, Pete looks at him. He's like, I hope you make the right decisions from this point forward. And, like, you're holding your breath because you're like, who's it going to be? Like, you like both of them a lot, right? One maybe more than the other, but you like both of them a lot. And so you're watching, and Pete starts slowing down, and he takes a knee. And Ryan's like, no, because this is his first warning, right? But mind you, Ryan had already got a couple of warnings between that. And he's like, no. He said, I know we said we're gonna help each other, but you deserve this. You deserve to walk. Just keep walking. Walk with me a little bit longer, okay? Walk with me a little bit longer. Come on. You gotta walk with me a little bit longer, man. He's like begging him. And he's like on his second warning, and Pete's like, okay. He's like, okay, I'll walk just a little bit longer. Walk a little bit longer. They take like 5 more steps. Ryan stops. They immediately shoot him. I guess because he already had a couple of warnings. And so as soon as he took a knee, boom. And Pete's like, what just happened? Like, what just happened? what just happened? And so the Major pops out. I don't know where the fuck he popped out from, like a little gopher. Pops out. He's like, Pete McFreeze, I think was his last name. Pete McFreeze, you've won the long walk. He's like, you'll have all the riches you can ever imagine. And you get one wish. Anything you wish for. What do you wish for? You get one wish. And Pete's like standing there real long and hard. He's like, and Major's like, come on now, son. Like, what do you want? Like, what you want? Come on, tell us your wish. Everyone's like gathered around. And Pete's like, I wish for the Columbine. What? Mr. Peacemaker here? Mr. I want to love on everybody. You wish for the gun? Oh my days. What are you going to do? And like everyone freezes because so backstory. So basically, Ryan told Pete his plan. So Ryan had the habit of whenever he would get water, so like along the way they would refill their canteen and give them more water. So whenever he would get water, he'd hold the water, he'd get his little canteen, and then he'd like touch the back of the gun. And like Pete was like, what do you keep doing that for? And that's when he told him like, hey, I'm gonna kill the Major. And when they give me my wish, I'm gonna wish for the Columbine and I'm gonna shoot him. And Pete's like, well, you can't do that. They'll shoot you. And Ryan's like, will they? He's like, I won the long walk. No one's ever like, it's like uncharted waters basically. Cause like you're supposed to be rich and you're supposed to basically have immunity from whatever. So like, are they actually gonna kill me? And they just like talk about it. And the whole time Pete was basically trying to sway him away from like doing that if he won. And so but Pete wished for the Columbine, and then he like grabs it, and the Major's like, it's okay, this one loves peace, which lets me know too that they're bugging their house, or they have bugs on them. Like they know what they were saying during the walk. It lets me know like almost like if Ryan would have won, they would have never given him that gun, because I feel like they already knew everyone's motives about what they would do if they won the long walk, because they already had a judgment on his character and been like, oh, you're not going to do that, you're not going to hurt me, you love everybody, like you're not going to hurt me. And he picked up the gun and he's like, he's shaking, you know, he really don't want to do it, but he's like thinking, shaking, and he goes boom, and he shoots the Major, and he's like, this one's for Ryan. And then he just walks off. No one shot him. The movie ends, no one shot him. He just walks off. And it's just like, wow. Like, I mean, when I tell you, like, it was just such an intense and emotional movie, and there's just so much to be taken from it, right? Like, no matter like what kind of mindset you walk in with, like there's so much to be taken from that. Now I know some people, they just watch movies, right? But like for a lot of us, like we watch them and like it does something. Like I will say, like film, music, film, art, these are all very powerful aspects of life, and they can actually alter the way you see things, like piece by piece, right? Like I always think about like growing up, mom used to be like, you should be careful what you consume, like you don't know like what that's doing to you. And like I used to tell her like, well, I'm strong-willed, which I still truly believe, like I am strong-willed, right? And I don't think for everybody, I don't think what happens to us in the same way, right? But like this is truly a movie that if you go in with an open mind and an open heart, it will alter your brain chemistry. Like it altered us. Walking out that movie theater, it was just like there was no words. There was so much to think about like humanity, about like how we treat each other. And like honestly, right after we got out of there, we had like kind of a messed up experience with people we used to know, or used to communicate with, I should say, because we still know them, but like we don't talk to them anymore, right? And it, like we had kind of a weird human experience when it comes to that. And it's just like you know, like in a world where like some people use love, fellowship and love as like a cover, you know, like what can you do to actually embody that, right? And that doesn't necessarily always make your way and impose. No, like if you're not wanted, like don't go where you're not wanted, right? But like what can you actually do to embody like a safe space, you know, and to be that person that someone in a hard time can lean on, and without draining yourself, right? Like it really truly, like it just did something. Like the way I looked at the world the next day, well, after I drank a bunch of tequila, the way I looked at the world the next day, it was just different, you know? Like, and I would say it's a definitely worth a watch. And I never do this, but this would be like my first 10 out of 10 of the year, you know, and like the year is almost over. I doubt we're gonna have another. Well, I'm going to go see him soon, so we'll see. But I doubt we'll have another 10 out of 10 like for this year. But like I feel like because of how I felt going in and how I felt coming out, and like the way it like low key, like it's going to be something like going forward as I think about like communicating and building bonds with people. Like that movie will have changed the way I do that, right? So it's definitely well worth the watch. And if you enjoyed me yapping at you today in another chaotic retelling of another thing I'm consuming, leave a little hiking dude down below, or the little handshake guy. All right. And yeah, let me know what you think. If you've seen the movie, let me know your take on it. And I will meet you guys in the next one. Peace.